How about
There you go. I am your host, Brady Wilson, with my co-host, Chase Solschwinger.
What's going on?
Well, there's not a lot of dry eyes in Dallas after last night, I think. And we'll get to the Lucas stuff here in a second, as we always do. But we kick it off, as usual, with the Dallas Stars. And so it was going to be a triumphant segment here for most of Tuesday night. I was there, my first ever Stars game, wearing the Rantanen jersey, and seeing NICO's first home goal was really, really cool. It was a, one-timer from the circle off the side on a power play. That's like his patented, goal that he, can do. But then you score 3, I think, in the first 2 periods, 3-0, going into the third. I'm thinking, great, we got this thing. It's locked up. Then they score 2, Vancouver scores 2, and I'm thinking, okay, it's a little close now. And then Bork scores, and then Granlund scores the empty net. And usually when you get an empty net that late in the game, it's like, that's the
dagger.
That's the dagger. Yeah. It's the nail in the coffin. Let's all go home. And like half the building left at that point, or was gone. And then Vancouver scores. Okay, it's 5-3, and there's these Vancouver fans. I'm sitting up in section 309. There's these Vancouver fans, literally like the top row, screaming their lungs out when they scored that third goal. And I literally, under my breath, was like, congratulations, it's now 5-3, yippee-ki-yay. Then, in like 10 seconds, they scored again. And this was all done in a span of 50 seconds. And I was like, okay, that's cool. It's now 5-4. Let's not piss this game away, please. Let's not pull, a DFW Sports and, piss the game away when you have it in hand. Because we were leading 5-2. This is from Mike Leslie. We were leading 5-2 with 1:01 left to play. They scored with 1 minute left to make it 5-3. Then they scored again at 30 seconds to make it 5-4. And then it's clock's winding down. It's 10, 9, 8, 7. Shot from the top of their zone, and it goes wide. And I almost got out of my seat to start cheering, because I looked at the clock, and it said 6 seconds. I looked at where the puck was. It was behind the net, and I'm thinking, that's game. They're not going to be able to, seeing there were 2 Stars and 1 Canuck by that puck. So I'm thinking, even if they get to it, we're going to tie them up. They're not going to be able to get a clean shot off in the next 6 seconds from where that puck was. And then, for some reason, the Stars guys essentially let him have it. I don't know who it was. I wasn't paying attention to who the Vancouver guy was. Beautiful pass to the guy that happened to be right in front of the goalie, because none of the Stars decided to get in front of him. And it's just, I could make that shot. Because DeSmith was on the completely other side where the puck had gone, and he had me wide open. I could have made, any of us could have made that shot.
Seems like the Stars players had the same kind of mindset you did, where, they saw the puck go by and they're like, okay, well, maybe I can just stop trying because the game's over.
I guess.
And, yeah.
But the second I saw the pass hit his stick, I went, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because I saw hockey's a sport where once you see it enough, you can, you're paying attention to the puck, but you can see those defenders or those offensive players, not in the play, but you see them skate up, and you make that, little mental note in your brain that it's so subconscious. You don't realize it. You really don't. That you don't think about it until you see the puck get to him, and you go, uh-oh, because you know it's about to score. And that happened when Rantanen got his goal. When Marchment got his goal, it was just a beautiful bang bang, pass right to Marchment. That's kind of, how I've, you get in that rhythm of hockey. And so the second I saw the pass get off clean, I knew it was a goal. And it was stunned. The air just got sucked out of the building for Stars fans. And then it was like, okay, well, if they salvage it in overtime, they get a point. But if they salvage it in overtime, great. We salvaged it. We won, move on, and
learn. Yeah.
We missed. We nearly lost the game. We didn't. And then I think it was slashing on Rantanen. Oh, it was awful. He didn't slash him. It was not a foul. Or it's not a penalty. It was absolutely. Now, the high-sticking one, the double minor on Marshman, that was a penalty because he high-sticked him right underneath his eye. So, yeah, okay, I'll live with that one. But the Rantanen one was crap. And then we get off the power play, and then Dumba gets tied up. I thought he got tripped. I still think he did. Or he got, actually, it'd be hooking. And he got tied up, which left nobody on the guy skating up right in front of the freaking net. Bang. Over. And I mean, it was just like every Stars fan had the same look I did, which was, A, what the hell just happened? And probably not hell, but, I can't say that on the air. And then the other, I didn't feel bad because when you feel so, you've been to enough sport, games to understand that as the game goes on, whatever sport it is, you can kind of get a sense of probably who's going to win or lose, right? And so you just kind of, start resigning yourself to the fact or to whatever the outcome might be. And so once we scored the third goal in the second period, I was starting to go, okay, it looks like we're going to win this hockey game. And I enjoyed it the rest of the way. And then when they made it 5-3, it was whatever. Then 5-4, okay. And then 5-5, it's like, uh-oh. And then 6-5, it's like, well, crap.
For 99% of the game, you had, all the confidence in the world that Stars were going to win that game.
It felt like we're going to, I had confidence going in because I thought, we're so much better than Vancouver. And so it was just a little bit, I didn't feel, and I still, I had a blast, first of all. If you've never been to a hockey game, I do recommend it. I can say now, go. It's so much fun. But it was a little weird because I didn't feel, usually after a loss, I don't feel great, right? Because I paid money and I saw my team lose. I felt great because we were supposed to win. It kind of felt like we won, but then it just didn't. It was so weird.
Yeah.
And I want to make a quick little thing here. The Rangers do bobblehead giveaways so much better. I feel like I need to say this to everyone that might listen. Because it was Wyatt Johnston bobblehead, and I was like, cool, if I get one, I'm happy. Anyone knows me, I do collect bobbleheads, but I don't have any non-baseball ones. But I was still like, you know what, if I get one, of course, I'm going to take it, right? And so what I was expecting was how it's not the Ranger games. You go through security outside, then you scan your ticket, you go through the doors, and then you get your bobblehead, right? There's ushers sitting there with boxes of them, handing them to you, and they scan your ticket, right? The Stars don't do that. I don't know if you know what they do, but you're about to go, what? Because I guarantee it's so stupid.
I've never been to a Stars game for a bobblehead night, so no, I don't.
You walk in first, then you go through security. I always thought that was word. No, sorry. Pardon me. You scan your ticket, then go through security. Then I'm looking around for the bobbleheads, and I went, oh, well, they must have ran out because they don't announce. You Rangers announce 15,000. Now, I've always maintained there's more than 15,000. They say that to get you in the door so that you can buy beer pregame. The Stars just say limited supply. That's real nice, But I'm like, oh, I guess it really was limited supply, and I didn't get one. Okay. And then I see these lines stretching, and you've been in the AAC, literally around the entire first level of the building. There are lines. And I'm going, what the hell are these for? It can't be for the bathrooms. It can't be for concessions. The hell are these for? Is there a player? Is Mike to sign autographs? Like, the Rangers do autograph at, the autograph alumni alley.
Right.
No, they're for the bobbleheads. Because they have separate places where you have to go to get the bobblehead, where you have to stand in another line. And I remember walking around going, this is crap. And I was in the gift shop, and I heard someone kind of mention, it was the lines are crazy. And I said, yeah, Ranger games do it so much better.
You just walk in and they hand you one.
You walk in, they scan your ticket, you go through security, they scan your ticket again to get the bobblehead, you got one. It's a very seamless process. But the Stars, I'm going to send this to whoever is in charge of that. I need to send this episode to them because that's you need to figure it out. Because, I wanted one, but there's no way I'm going to stand in a line that long for one, and I'm not guaranteed to get one.
Right.
If you said we have enough, how many can the AAC hold?
I don't know, probably 20K.
Come on, you should know this, Mavs fan. Anyway.
Sorry, I don't know the exact
I'm messing with you.
capacity.
But it was like, okay, if you have one for every seat, then I'll stand in line because I'm guaranteed to get one. But I'm not going to stand in line and not be guaranteed to get one because that's effing ridiculous.
Right. It doesn't take a lot of effort to put all the bobbleheads in boxes at the entrances of the doorways and have the ushers hand them out to people. It
would have been so much easier,
more organized, smoother,
and that's the thing, is as safety is important, and you now have it was so. I mean, first of all, I'm a big guy, so I already have difficulty. When I say difficulty, not difficult. Trust me, I don't have difficulty navigating crowds, but I feel rude navigating crowds because people bounce off of me. I knife through a crowd. This was, I don't like being in that close quarters. This was some of the worst I've been in, especially for a sporting event. I mean, everyone you've been in, there's packed in. There's like multiple lines in the hallways. And so you're trying to get through, like I'm trying to get to the gift shop and I have to cut through 2 different lines to get there. Because there's 2 different lines to the ball. And it was, I mean, you have this just, no one can move in the first floor at the AAC. Whereas the Rangers, the log jam kind of happens at the entrance. But you can control the flow of people. Here, you just let them all in and then let them pack themselves in. I don't like that. I prefer the Rangers. But anyway, I needed to make that public service.
I agree with you.
You got Winnipeg tonight. Look, with losing to the Canucks, with Winnipeg, I don't think you're going to get that top seed in the Central. I don't know how the tiebreaker, I don't know if we have it or they, but I would imagine they probably do.
I think it's from recent memory, I don't remember beating the Jets.
They beat us last time, and I think we played them once before.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you were on the Canucks topic, losing that game, not only is that a terrible way to lose, and you can't lose like that to be a successful team, but it basically lost your chances of getting the top seed in the Central, because imagine you win that game, and then you beat Winnipeg tonight, and you gain another game, and then then it's anybody's race. But now, even if you beat Winnipeg, you're still got a lot of work to do.
Look, you only got 4 games left,
right,
including this one because you're at 78.
And I can't imagine Ottinger playing more than 2.
He'll play tonight.
And
I want to make a note on this. DeSmith was not bad. The defense was awful. On 3 of it, and I do recommend, I will plug another podcast for if you want just Stars content. The DLS, they do Rangers, Stars, Mavs, Cowboys, they do them all. The Stars one's probably honestly my personal favorite because first of all, Ludwig's awesome. Craig Ludwig's awesome. He's on the 99 team, but his breakdowns I think are probably the best of any of the podcasts. But since he was breaking it down, and you can see on 3 of the goals, the most what he considered and what anyone would consider seen a hockey game would consider the most dangerous person on the ice. 3 of those goals, he is the most uncovered.
Right.
And that is unacceptable for a team that's trying to win a Stanley Cup. And if they play like that in the playoffs, you're going to have problems. You cannot play against Colorado like that. So I don't know if Heiskanen is completely the fix, but I don't like having to rely on one defenseman, however great that defenseman might be. I don't like having to rely on, because he might not be back for game 1. I don't want to have to, let's just try to hang in there until he gets back in the series. No, that's stupid. I thought they put together multiple periods of really good hockey, and then they just completely played like terrible in the third. I mean, it was not. They played
just the last minute.
The whole third they were not the best. Because they scored all 5 of their goals in the third period.
It was 3-0. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those. They just played badly. They played very poorly in the third period. So it's playing a complete hockey game is going to be very important for them. But you're going to get Colorado, and in the West, I would argue there are 5 teams that are true Cup contenders. Now, one of them might just be because I'm a Stars fan, but I think they are a Cup contender, and that is you've got Winnipeg, you've got Dallas, you've got Vegas, you've got Edmonton, and Colorado. I don't care what the record is. I don't. When you have the talent that they have,
and have been there,
when they have McKinnon and McCarr, they're going to win a lot of hockey games. So they're going to play very good. And then they added Brock Nelson at the deadline. So this is just a very, very good hockey team. And you're a very, very good hockey team. But you're just going to have to figure it out in the playoffs. Now Sagan I think he was cleared for contact now. So it sounds like he might be back for game 1, which is great. That's awesome. It's great to have him back on the ice. But you really need Heiskanen back, I think. But we'll see. Hopefully, we will definitely cover this a lot more extensively. So now because of the draft and how much time that's taken, I'm hoping that it, lines up kind of good. But we'll see.
Yeah.
For the Dallas Mavericks, not much significance happened, right, Chase? I mean, really nothing.
Yeah, can't think of anything.
But on our little script, every week I have like a fun way to say how depressed I am about it. And so this week is Simon and Garfunkel's "The Sound of Silence" is the hyperlink on our script. Obviously, you can't play it because copyright, but I would love to. It's. I did not watch. The only reason I saw any of it was because it was bowling. It was league night for me, and they had it on one of the TVs. So I was forced to sit there, and it's right there. And my curiosity is going to take over, and so I'm going to peek.
Yeah.
But as you said, and you'll get into, the fans did not let us down.
Not at all.
And I'm going to get through my little thing, and then you can
go ahead.
You can take over. The fans did not let us down. I didn't watch the tribute video till this morning, and I got a little emotional. Not as much as right after the trade, but it hurt more seeing him crying, because you can tell that even someone who's a sociopath and can't read emotions can tell that he did not want to leave Dallas. And so the fact that he looked so hurt, seeing that and being told, thank you, but bye. I think that it looked like to me that was his moment of, this has actually happened. Because now you're back in Dallas and the reality's facing you. There's that little, someone said this, and I'm like, that'd be great. That'd be interesting if he came out and said, I'll come back to the Mavs as long as Dumont and Harrison are gone. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But
no, I mean, I fully agree that, look, right now, obviously, I don't see him ever coming back as long as NICO and Dumont are in at least NICO. I mean, most likely Dumont as well. But
I'm about to say, because Dan Gilbert wrote that letter about LeBron, and then LeBron came back.
Right.
So it's not unheard of for owners and superstar players to amend things. But the GM, oh hell no.
I think Nico's got to be gone. Kid's got to be gone, because I didn't think so at first, but now it's really come clear that Kid pushed for this as well, for whatever the reason. Even though Luka's the only reason Kid has a job. But no, moving to yesterday's game, it was the most fun I've ever had watching a game since Luka was a part of our team. I haven't really had much enjoyable moments watching the Mavs since February 2nd. But yesterday was great, and it was great emotionally, but it was, I just had, I don't know how to describe it. I just had enjoyment watching the game because Luka obviously played great, showed how much he really loves Dallas. And then the fans, like you said, were just perfect. Exactly what I wanted to see happen. And I was nervous that they weren't going to, continue, the chanting or, before the game started. I was nervous they weren't going to give Luka all the, as much love as I wanted them to, or, yell at NICO as much as I wanted them to. But then they did it the entire game. Every time Luka touched the ball, there was cheers. Every time Luka scored, there was cheers. Every single time there was free throws, there were Fire NICO chants from the entire arena. It was just an unbelievable experience. And as upsetting and emotionally, scarring the game was to see Luka in another uniform, it was so much fun seeing how much love he was getting and how much hate NICO was getting. And, they know that. And obviously they know that. Like, obviously NICO knows nobody likes him. But now he got to experience it. And that's...
From an entire arena. Because I feel like even Lakers fans that were there were probably chanting it just to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that's what brought me joy. And then everybody cheered. And, I saw people online saying, it was Luka's revenge game. He was going to go crazy. Well, remember, he didn't have a great game when they went to LA to play him the first time. The reason he had such a good game is because he was home. He was comfortable.
And the PA announcer didn't even be like, in starting Luka Doncic,
Right, no,
he was
the same way he's done it for the last 7 years. Luka was home. He was comfortable. That's why he played so. I mean, obviously he's an unbelievable player. He's gonna play great every game.
Home court.
But he was home. It was home court. And it was a Lakers home game. Every time he scored, it was cheers.
Now, okay, when someone else scored, I bet you it wasn't all cheers.
No,
but
I was watching the game. When the Mavericks scored, there was not as many cheers.
Interesting.
There wasn't. There was not. Every time they did something, it was whatever. Luka traveled one time, and it was a turnover. The crowd booed. They didn't want to see Luka get a turnover, and it nobody went to that game wanting the Mavs to win. People went to that game to support Luka, and that's it. And they got an unbelievable. I wish I was there because the atmosphere just seemed amazing.
Can you imagine if you were somebody who bought tickets back in like October?
Right.
Like, hey, Jimmy.
LeBron's coming to town.
Yeah, hey, Jimmy, which game you want to do? I want to see LeBron.
Right.
Okay, well, it looks like April the 9th. He's going to be in town. Let's go see him. And you paid, $100 for your tickets.
Well, it's more because when LeBron comes to town, it's
okay. You paid maybe,
$300.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. What
Right.
about like nosebleeds? Not $300.
Probably $100. Yeah.
Maybe $100. Okay, let's go see him. And then you get to experience. I've never, even me who does not want to watch right now, even I couldn't stay away from it. I've never really seen. I mean, you've seen it in sports. You need to be around it enough. You see it where there's these things that happen every year. There's things happen every year that it feels like everyone's watching. I'll give you an example. During the basketball national championship this season, which, by the way, real quick, congratulations to Florida for winning the national championship.
Doing my Gator chomp because I had them winning my tournament.
Do the chomp. I don't feel as bad because the team I had was Houston, and they did not play a bad game. They just kind of collapsed there in late stages of the game.
And I won my bracket challenge.
Anyway,
gotta put that out there.
Do you see that there was a women's bracket? Real quick, it was a women's bracket.
There was like one missed one.
There was one miss.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, it's the women's." Like that's funny, haha. But like, still, you imagine telling a math nerd that they did that. Like how astronomical.
I mean, the odds are probably still insane. I mean,
very. Anyway. Whenever when that game was going on, and I watched the last maybe half of the game, but when the game was going on, I noticed like a lot of my sports people on Twitter were tweeting, and it's funny because I know what they're tweeting about, and they're football, baseball, they're all different sports.
Yeah, all the analysts were tweeting,
but they're all tweeting about that was not a foul or that, and so it's you get those events every year where everyone is tweeting about one thing because we're all watching the same game, and it's always really fun. This was one of those things that happens in the year where it's an unexpected, huge event that everyone's watching. But I don't know if I've ever really felt like all of the eyes of the world were descended upon the American Airlines Center to watch this, not because you wanted to see the Mavs win or the Lakers win. People just wanted to see the reaction of Mavs fans. Because finally, there's been some chance at Mavs games, right? There's been fire NICO
but it hasn't lasted long, and when there's only a few people doing it, they kick the people out.
That's just it.
But when the entire arena can't kick everybody out.
I loved that everyone understood that it's the mob mentality. It's the look, if 10 of us chant in a 20,000 seat arena, they can kick 10 of us out. If 18,000 are chanting in a 20,000 arena, guess what? They can't kick us all out.
Yeah.
And so. And did you see there was a guy passing out clown noses?
Yes, I saw that.
He bought like 1,000 clown noses in a box, and he put them, and he was handing them out for free. I'm like, that's cool. That's actually really cool for fans. But Mavs fans, I've never seen a fan base quite unite like this, or unite quite like this. And I've seen most fan bases are pretty united, right? I've never seen something where an executive makes a blockbuster move, and then every single fan, not one, was like happy. Every fan was pissed. And it's just and there's chance to fire the executive, not just there's been chance to fire executives at sporting events since the executives were a thing in sports. Okay, that's been happening. But to be at the Stars game, and there was one that broke out, I think, start of the third period, I believe. It broke out kind of towards the Canucks bench. And if it grew, I would join. But I'm not going to start one at a Stars game because it's a little lame. It's a little lame. It's a Stars game.
I was texting him saying, you should start one as a joke.
Yeah. But you see it at Stars games. There's at least one.
You see it everywhere.
There's at least one in Rangers games. Just one. Even if it's, lasts for 10 seconds and it's 100 people.
FC Dallas games. I mean,
SMU basketball games.
SMU basketball, when NICO was there.
It's just and we're going to move off Luka here, but it's one of those times in sports where all of the eyes of every sport, I don't care if you watch underwater basket weaving or ping pong or bowling or volleyball or I don't care what it is, you were watching that game or you were at least keeping up with what was happening and you're seeing the clips of just and I want to give a quick shout out to the announcers. I believe it was Mike Breen.
I was literally going to make that point. Yes.
As a fellow broadcaster, yes. I'm going to say they did a hell of a job because they didn't say, oh, they're saying, let's go, Brandon. Oh, they're saying, let's go, Nico. Yeah. No, because you can audibly hear, they did not insult the audience's intelligence.
And the production crew didn't block out the noise.
No. But, they didn't say, I wonder what they're chanting. Because, it felt really natural. These announcers were just like, this is crazy. They are the Fire Nico chant. So you heard Breen's they're going crazy right now. That's what I want to commend is that they didn't shy away from it. They didn't try to hide it. They didn't try to, they're really saying, let's go, Nico. No. They acknowledged they are saying fire Nico because they are pissed.
Right. I was literally going to say the same thing right before you started. Like you said, they did not sugarcoat anything. The entire game, Mike Breen, Dorisberg, Richard Jefferson, amazing job. Unbelievable job. They always do. But they did not sugarcoat anything. They talked about how poor the trade was, they didn't really say how stupid the trade was, but they meant it with how they were talking and the expressions they were making. It was, they were saying how stupid of a trade it was. They were saying how, the crowd was chanting "Fire Nico" the entire game, and they didn't hold back, and that's what I love. I loved hearing that because they made the Mavs organization look like crap, and that's what everybody wanted.
Yeah, and I'm sure ESPN may catch a little bit of heat from the NBA for that, but thankfully it's a crew that they're not going to fire.
Anywhere.
They're not going to get rid of that crew, and so it
was great. It was great. It was everything that I wanted to happen happened, and I could not I wanted to go to the game in case it didn't go how I wanted and I could start something. That's how bad I wanted to go to the game, just to in case there isn't the Fire Nico chance.
But it was a small fortune to get there.
It would have been a little price to pay. But I was talking to my friends oh my gosh, that would have been so worth it to go to. Luka had a master class. The entire crowd chanting. Nobody cared about the Mavericks winning or anything. Mavs were at the free throw line and people were starting Fire Nico chants. No matter who was at the line, there were Fire Nico chants from the whole arena. And then Mark Cuban's sitting on the bench. I'm sure you've seen that video where he's just sitting at his seat and his hands are in his head. He's just shaking his head. And it's not that he was upset about people chanting Fire Nico. That was a sign of just regret. And it's what did I do? I built this team up the last 25 years for such a loyal fan base, and having Dirk and Luka and in a championship and just everybody loving this team and players, and it's all gone.
I want to say this, and I know people have kind of differing opinions on Mark Cuban. I have a ton of sympathy for him. I feel terrible for him because when he sold the organization, and people go, "Well, he shouldn't have sold the team." Maybe, but I think he saw the writing on the wall of gambling in Texas, and I think he wanted to get that done. But I also think he probably was a little tired of the grind. You know,
I'm sure. And
because
he got all the money. I mean,
because Mavs fans, you either loved him as your owner or you hated him as the owner. I don't think I've ever met a Mavs fan that was like, he's okay.
I've always loved Cuban.
It's the thing.
Always loved
But to
Cuban.
me, I don't know about you. I've never met a Mavs fan that was like, he's okay. I've always heard, I love him or I hate him. And so I think he was just a little tired of the grind. And I think he was a little tired of maybe the fans, I don't want to say not liking it, but he had that, back and forth with the guy on Facebook that was like, it's guys like you that maybe want to sell. Because I got tired of fans acting like they understand everything about it, and I'm tired of it. But I truly believe you can't think when you're selling a team, I'm going to sell this team to these guys, and they're going to they're going to trade all my good players. No one would think that. And I think, to be completely honest here, I imagine Cuban, he's a fairly intelligent guy. I don't think he would think anyone would be that stupid.
Right.
How could anyone with a functioning brain think that another human being with a functioning brain would want to trade Luka Doncic? It's so completely that's no. And so you're right. It was the face of regret, because I think if he could buy back the team,
if he could,
he
rephrase
would.
it. If he knew what was going to happen, he would not have sold the team,
or he would have sold it to somebody different.
Right.
But it's
or at least kept more stake in the team,
or put in the contract, cannot sell or trade. I said sell, cannot trade Luka Doncic at all. He will retire a Maverick. Moving from Luka now, it was a great event. A decent consolation, I guess, for losing him, but nothing will ever replace it.
And I'm also hoping, real quickly, that this is going to be a trend every time he's back, every time, and maybe games going forward now that everybody saw, oh wait, we can chant Fire NICO without getting kicked out. Oh, let's just do that every game now then, and I hope that continues until he's gone.
Hope they do it in play-in games.
Yeah,
okay,
great.
so we did a bunch of play-on spot. Who cares?
They're not hosting it though. They're the 10 seed.
The what?
They're going to be the 10 seed, so they'll go to Sacramento most likely. They have to win that game, and then they have to play the winner or the loser of the 7 or the 8 seed. And if they win that game, they get the 8 seed.
The Lakers, they clinched a spot using that game. So the teams are
Playoffs,
set.
yep.
The seeds are not. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
We'll be updated next week. Moving to baseball now. The Rangers. Very weird. Very different from, I think, what us fans are used to. They're 9-4. They're first in the West, which is a good sign. Salvaged the series in Chicago with a nice win. But it was cold. People are, I think the conditions definitely played a part. But
for sure,
when you look at what the Rangers have been doing, pitching has been stellar. Pitching has been amazing. Hitting, there's a lot left to be desired. They're not hitting as good as we thought they would coming into the season. Obviously, I think the bats are going to wake up. I'm not worried. Then again, I said this last year about our record. I'm not worried. And then, until May. Well, I'm not worried until June. Well, I'm not going to be worried until August. I'm not going to be worried until, the season's over. I'm running out of months here.
I'm with you, though. I think the bats will wake up.
The bats will wake up. There's no reason why, they just, unfortunately, they've started off in a slump to start, which creates the perception that they can't hit. But Seager had 2 home runs. People are worried about Seager. He's washed. Come on now. Really? This is what we're doing? We're doing he's washed? Really? Anyway. Things have been going well. I mean, you, again, played a great game yesterday. Malley was nails. The offense came alive. Seager had 2 home runs. Heim crushed the baseball.
Heim's been hitting the ball really well.
He has. Lady Taveras should not be in center field. I think this has become very apparent over the last year, and especially this year too. He is just not that good anymore defensively. He is not good defensively. That is that is the conclusion that I have come to as a Rangers fan, is that he is not a good defensive center fielder anymore, and he needs to go, at least from center field. I don't care where. Just put him somewhere. DH him. I don't give a crap. He's hitting the ball pretty well.
I mean, you can't DH it with this lineup, though. Because you can't play Berger, Young, and Jock in the same game. I mean, you can't.
So it just...
I mean, realistically, I brought up a funny, potential trade. Carter and Leote for Trout or something like that.
Yeah,
move Langford to center.
That's funny.
Trout
It's a
left or right.
It's a fun idea. Yeah,
I mean,
but
if
no.
I'm not saying I want to trade Carter, but if he really is gonna be hurt for his
Here's the
entire
thing,
career,
Chase. No team is going to want to trade for him with his back issue. No, the medicals will not check out. The physical will not be passed.
it's not like Trout has any better history. But
it doesn't matter. The what Carter has is an autoimmune disease. It sounds like, and it's going to be a constant recurring issue. He's not going to pass a physical for any other team. That's me. That's my opinion.
Well,
for the Rangers, hopefully the Bats continue this little. They continue the momentum they built. Chicago, I believe they're in Seattle, not tonight, but tomorrow.
Yep. They should have a couple days off coming up in the next week.
Yeah, they do. They've got some days off, so Langford getting hurt is okay because you have several days off, so it's okay. Everyone's pitching well. Lighter, that blister, and people need to understand something about pitching. You can't pitch with a blister. Unless it's Game 7 of the World Series, it is very difficult to grip the baseball. Very difficult to grip the baseball with a blister, especially on his middle finger. And so people like, oh, he's not tough enough. It's not a toughness thing. Yes, you can pitch through a blister. I can bowl through a blister. It's about being able to grip the baseball that causes the problem. And I think hitters definitely want a pitcher that has a good grip on the baseball.
Yeah.
Rocker had a nice rebound. I'm not worried about him. This is definitely my favorite time of baseball season when everyone takes every game as like the life or death of their season.
Yeah.
And usually it takes getting into like May and June before people kind of settle in to realize, okay, it's the hills and valleys of baseball season. But that's pretty much it for the Rangers. It's just, they're playing fine. They're playing fine. I mean, they are finding ways to win baseball games. I think that is what needs to be said, is that what they may lack in, the numbers and all of that, they are certainly making up for it in they're winning games, and I think that's what matters. And then obviously in baseball,
our division foe, the Angels, they're playing some good baseball. They're about to be 8-3.
I was gonna say,
I mean, the division's looking pretty tough.
Vladdy Jr. $500 million
for the next 14 years.
325. That's a signing bonus.
Whew.
So that means he'll only receive 175 in salary. So they're just giving him a check for $325 million. Can you imagine that check?
Deserved.
Ooh, it's crazy.
I think deserved. I mean,
but other than that, the Angels are doing pretty well. The Blue Jays are actually 8-5, leading the division. Detroit 7-5, leading the division. The Phillies are 8-3, leading the division. My World Series pick Braves are 2-9. The Cubs are 9-6 and in first, and the Padres are 10-3 and in first place. So what happened to the Dodgers, Chase?
Yeah,
What happened?
I don't know.
And the White Sox are 2-9. And the Astros are 5-7. So Astros are below 500.
Well, the Astros were that same way last year. So
big smile on my face. Moving on to the last topic of the day, and it's football. And we've hit the point in the draft process where I can't remember what my life was like before I had to do draft, before I was doing evaluations every night. We've hit that point where I'm just like, what was it like when I didn't have this thing coming up? Like, what was that like? It's so crazy. No, but I'm super excited. Little behind on the evaluations. Little behind. Only halfway to where the number I'm aiming for, and it's April 10th. So we've
less than 2 weeks now, right?
Yeah, we've to use the words of Smokey and the Bandit, we've got a long way to go, but in a short time to get there. But I'm gonna get there. It's gonna be fine. Draft show, gonna meet with the people over there, and it should be at a different studio this time. It should be at a lot more user-friendly studio where you'll be able to see us, and there's not microphone stands blocking us.
And you can call in.
That's a fun little update, is that you will be able to call if you just call me, or call Chase if you have his number, or if you are
just get like hooked up to the microphones. Or?
It'll be Bluetooth.
Okay.
Please keep it family friendly. We don't want any, Jameis Winston incidents to happen on our show. That would be very, very bad. But yeah, we've hit that process where we've hit the time in the process where, I mean, there are rumors flying everywhere.
Just got a rumor, actually, a couple, just so we can pass some more time. There's not a lot of teams trying to move up, according to Ian Rappaport in the draft.
Yeah, I could if you told me that this is one of those drafts where nobody moves up, it's just 1 through 32, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I don't think teams really like the top of the draft. I think that you could definitely see maybe a quarterback go late in the first, and teams trying to trade up and get that that extra fifth year, that of contractual obligation. But I don't know.
I really don't know what to expect with this draft. I mean, there's a lot of talent in this draft, and I'm
just not at the top.
Well, I mean, there is at the top, but like
there's talent in every draft.
But like when your top 2 projected picks are Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, who knows? But then you got Travis Hunter, Duke Carter, Ashton Genty. There's a lot of talent in this draft, and I just don't know where. I'm trying to make these mocks, and I just don't know.
Well, okay.
There's not a consensus who's going number 2.
Here's the thing. When it comes to
I think we're all set in stone thinking that Ward's going number 1. I think the Titans have said that they're going Ward number 1.
Looking at the draft, I only have 7 top of the first round grades.
Right.
And one of those is Josh Simmons, who has a patella injury. So, and officially it is a patella, which is great. Wonderful. So the top of the draft, I mean, Luther Burden is my 8th best player in the draft. Luther Burden should not be in a top 10 for me. He shouldn't be. But he is, because there's not enough top-end talent to fill out that spot. That's the problem. I only have 21st round grades. My second round grades start at 21 with Derek Harmon. Now, he's a great player, and 21 is not a bad spot for him. But my point is that right now I have over 30 second round grades. The bulk of this draft is the second round, the second and third round players. That's where the real talent in this draft is. It's a very depth draft. Most positions have pretty good depth. It's just the top end talent's a bit lacking in most positions, except for, I would say, defensive tackle. Defensive tackle is probably the best position class in this.
You think over receiver?
No, it's DT. It's DT. I mean, you just look at my top
running back. I mean,
running back maybe it could be running back. So I have 2 in the first round. But if you look at here are the defensive tackles that I have in my top 50. Mason Graham at 3. That's all the guys have in the first. But then you get to the second. Derek Harmon at 21. Tyleik Williams at 22. Kenneth Grant at 26. Walter Nolan at 30. Darius Alexander at 41. And then that's it. And then Alfred Collins literally at 51. And then you just keep going off the ones I've evaluated. You have TJ Sanders at 65. Omar Norman-Lott at 67. CJ West at 68. Shamar Turner at 73. Now it's going to change because he's a 4th round grade. But there are still several DTs I have not watched. There are, so there is a rich pool of players at defensive tackle. And then obviously running backs. Here are my top 50 players that are running backs. Ashton Genty at 2. Amarian Hampton at 16. And then I believe the next one I have is, Quinshon Judkins at 31. Dylan Sampson at 35. Caleb Johnson at 38. Travion Henderson at 46.
I don't know. I think running back might.
And then again, just outside the top 50 at 53 is RJ Harvey. And then you go into the third round. And have I done? Cam Scadaboo is a back end 3 for me. So, and again, haven't studied Devin Neal, haven't studied DJ Giddens, haven't studied Ollie Gordon, haven't studied. So there's still several guys that could creep into that just glut of talent there. But it is not a top-end heavy draft, which is why the first round may get a little boring. But day 2, I think, is going to be very interesting to see. And I think you actually may see more trades then than just people trying to maneuver and get up and get their guy there.
Sure.
It's just a very weird draft, and I think part of it is because, we're still trying to figure out how to do it with the whole transfer portal and people getting 6th and 7th years. I've seen a lot of these guys have played 5-6 years because of COVID, and they use their extra COVID year of eligibility. Now, hopefully, as we move away from 2020, I don't know if there's really any more players that have that eligibility now, because most of these guys are that last bit of guys that were in college at that time. But It is not a top heavy draft, but there are still, there's a lot of rumors flying around. There's so many. Cam Ward to the Titans is a big one. Shedeur Sanders, is he going to go 2? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we really don't know.
Obviously, I hope 6 quarterbacks go on the top 10.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Because that means we get a really good football player. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening. So it's a weirder draft class. It is a weirder draft class. I think that is very fair to say. And the Cowboys did make a signing. They signed Shadik Charles.
Yes.
He was going to be a starter last year for Tennessee. So he's not a bad player. He's just been away from a year. He's been away from it for a year. So, we'll see what he can provide. And maybe he's just a solid. He'll challenge Robert Jones for that backup right guard spot. I still think you'd probably like to go get somebody in the draft. Obviously, I think my best case scenario would be if at 44 somehow Tyler Booker has a for those that understand the reference, has a gas mask moment. And hopefully that video doesn't get released, and so he falls to 44, and we get to draft Tyler Booker. That would be really nice. Yeah, that's pretty much your draft news. As we move closer to that, next week is the last Thursday episode until we get to the draft, and then we'll have an episode probably on Tuesday with our final mock drafts, detailing each player, and that will be done with a lot more research into what I think each team will do. That will be 32 picks of what I think the team will do, not 32 picks of what I think they should do. There's a difference there. There are probably at least 3 or 4 players in the first round that are going to go that, I would definitely not have drafted there. But that's how the draft goes. So we will see you guys next week. I will, keep giving draft updates as we cruise into. I get more evaluations done. It's hard to go through each player and be like, well, here's what he does really well, because that's kind of what the draft show's for. So if you want to know what I truly think about every player, you can either go to my draft guide, which is on my Twitter, pinned tweet, or you can listen to our draft show. That's kind of I
think it's only right to end the episode off of Fire NICO, right?
I don't want to do the clap because I don't want to.
We don't have to. But I'm just saying, Fire NICO.
Fire NICO.